Hey, what's up everybody? This is Ed the Pond Professor. I am coming to you from Sunrise, Florida. This is the home of Florida Aquatic Nurseries. We're going to meet with Brandon here today. Check out all the different plants they have for the aquarium industry, for terrariums, as well as ponds and water features. How he grows them, the different types of plants, the substrates, what they do to ship these plants around the world.
These are new unnamed hybrids.
Wow.
Way bigger than my hand. World's smallest flowering plant.
It flowers, huh?
Yeah, if you have a microscope.
Wow.
This is what we call affectionately the packaging warehouse.
Yep.
You can see all the plants we put up here on a shelf by name. We go down the list.
Wow.
According to what the order says, and pick the appropriate number plant and put it in the box and package it up to ship. Our primary method for aquarium plants is air freight, so everything's kind of geared into air freight, and these are the standard boxes that we use, standard size, fits well on an airplane. Depending on the type of plant, 200 to 300 per box.
Yeah, we've had some of these boxes come through our place, so I'm familiar with it. Wow, quite an operation. Oh, I see Java ferns over here, moss balls, mondo grass. Yeah, check this out. Some cool stuff. Just incredible. This is ground zero for all of the things that happen throughout North America. I love it.
We've been in business for over 60 years now, and it was started by my grandfather, taken over by my father, then I'll be the third generation to keep it going. Day-to-day operations, we're shipping plants all through North America and Canada, primarily aquarium plants, freshwater aquariums. We're the biggest grower in the United States.
Wow, so you're responsible for some of the most incredible aquariums on the planet.
Well,
Ed just said the eye of the hurricane passed over so we can get out here.
Oh my gosh, yeah, look at that.
oh, there's some Victoria flowers open too.
Oh, look at those.
So awesome. Look at the size of these night blooming tropicals. And here you go, the king of the pond. So that's a second day or third day flower, pink, and they start off as white.
Look at the size of that thing.
It's gonna be loud in here.
So everything in here is a hydroponic. It's a hydroponic recirculating system.
Okay.
They're all grown immersed because they can be.
Yep.
And it actually holds up better for shipping. Then the customers get to watch the transformation of the water, so you get the prettier leaves underwater a lot of times.
Gotcha. If you grew them underwater, they wouldn't have that structure. Basically, they kind of probably flop.
No, they still, because the buoyancy of the water, their leaves typically stand up. Okay. Just like you see now, but it's a much thinner leaf. And it's more colorful.
Do you have a nutrient solution coming through?
We've got all the basic nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and then we add all the microelements to it. We just keep it established at the level that we want for these plants.
So pond plants here.
That could be a pond plant, although these are all aquariums, you know, people keep them inside.
And they just keep them trimmed.
Yeah, really put it in a pond to be happy. This is a green ocelot sword, so it's an echinodoros variety. Mother plants here, so they send out these flower stalks, and on the flower stalks, the babies start being born right off of them, and you can see after a few weeks they get to be a good size. Oh my god,
very cool.
And that's kind of just helps them root into something. No nutrients or anything, it just gives them rooting. All the potted plants are grown in rock wool. Seen in the insulation industry and stuff.
Exactly.
That's what they use.
Okay.
Really popular in hydroponics.
Yes.
So like lava rock?
It is. It's lava rock, so it's nice, lightweight, and then you get the plant attached to it.
Yep.
It's kind of instant Aquascape for the people that just give them a little start.
Dwarf baby tears?
Dwarf baby tears.
Yeah.
Sure. Now, how long does that take to get something established on
That's a really quick growing plant. So you're looking at 3-4 weeks if you start with a big enough piece. Especially products where we grow them on rocks, and in the next greenhouse you'll see we grow them all on driftwood too.
Okay, gotcha.
So duckweed is a nuisance for you?
Duckweed is a nuisance, but it's a great plant food too. So we end up selling fair amount of duckweed, but it's definitely a nuisance everywhere. Azolla, yeah. So this is where we sell Azolla, we sell Salvinia, and we sell duckweed. This is our actual sales table of it.
It's so cool. That is a cool plant.
It is. It gets that nice red color.
Yeah.
It's just heaven. And Ed didn't bring a raincoat.
These are gonna all be future water lily hybrids. So
no kidding.
Yeah, I take a seed pod, that I've hybridized outside. I put the seeds, one in each pond, so I know what the cross is and what I'm looking for out of it. Next year we'll see what we have.
That's cool.
Well, we did a bunch of intersubgenerics recently. Hardy purples.
Yes.
Yeah. The biggest one that we did and have the patent on is Nymphaea Purple Fantasy. It's nice purple, really reminiscent of a small, medium-sized hardy, so it could fit in a lot of place. And then another one that we've done since then, but we haven't released yet, is Nymphaea Moorings. We had that in the contest last year. It came in second or third place.
Wow. Oh yeah, look at these. Wow.
For the tropical water lilies, we try to keep stuff up year-round. Really, the goal here is to have plants to sell in March.
Okay.
So these are all planted in the greenhouse. We plant them this time of year. They've been planted in here for about a month right now.
Okay.
And that way they can get big enough to stay strong and make it through even the Florida cooler temperatures.
Gotcha.
We'll put tropical water lilies back into dormancy.
Okay.
If we don't have them enclosed and big enough before it gets cool.
Now this looks like it's really shallow.
We grow them really shallow because you can fit a lot more in a pond.
Okay.
If we let them get big, they crowd each other out.
It makes sense.
Keep it, an inch or so above the crown.
Yep.
Then we're able to fit the most you can.
What would be the optimum depth for a customer to have these at?
Anywhere around 18 to 36 inches will give you a really nice plant. If you go too deep, then you're going to end up with more sprawl, and the flowers might not be as strong.
Okay.
Foxfire is spectacular. You get the foliage,
and
this flower here doesn't even do it justice for what it turns into when it gets full size. And you get almost 3 colors. These petaloid stamens in here turn pink in color, so you get the bright yellow center, then you get a pink color to it, and you get a really nice deep blue to the outer settings.
That is spectacular.
And it's a large tropical.
Yeah, large tropical. I'm talking pads like this. When it's mature, and you really get the nice coloration on it too.
Yeah, we definitely got to look that up.
All right, we'll just hang out here the rest of the day.
So these are all different varieties of Anubias that we grow on driftwood. Malaysian driftwood, it's heavy, so it's
super heavy.
Sinks.
Yeah,
it's really dense, so it sinks really easy. It's been soaking in water, so you don't have quite as many tannins as if you were to get a fresh piece in there. But it's an instant Aquascape piece.
Different varieties.
Yeah, so this is Anubias Nano, which is one of the most popular varieties.
Yep.
This is a hybrid, but Anubias is native to Africa. It's coming out of Africa.
Africa to Florida to Chicago. Oh yeah, very small.
World's smallest flowering plant.
It flowers, huh?
Yeah, if you have a microscope.
Wow.
You know you're a geek when you get excited about a flowering plant that you have to look through a microscope to see.
They're doing a lot of the paludarium setups nowadays.
That's huge.
So aquarium plants are a great thing, and most pet stores always have aquarium plants. Imagine how we're growing them. It'd be easy to do in the same
Very
setup.
easy to do, actually. Yeah, Tanner would love this.
He would love it.
We're doing stem cutting like we were talking about inside.
Yep.
So you're going to take 5 to 7 stems, stick them together, and wrap them up.
That's beautiful.
This plant's really neat because underwater it looks like this, but above water the leaves are round and small. You see a totally different leaf underwater.
Beautiful.
Yeah, right?
Is this one of your hybrids?
Yeah, so that's Nymphaea sangria. It's a cross between a tropical and a hardy.
Yeah.
Purple one is Nymphaea moorings. That'll be on the market in a few years.
You got to build up your populace?
Yeah, it takes a while. That's all we have right there.
Explain this process of hybridizing.
hybridize, you take the pollen, one flower, and put it into a first day flower. And you can tell it's a first day flower because you got the liquid in the bottom, the stigmatic fluid. And this is where you get a lot of your fragrance from.
Okay.
When you have the stigmatic fluid in there, it's receptive to pollen at this point. So you take your pollen from a second day flower, these would be full of pollen, and put it in there. The pollen starts to germinate.
Yep.
And hopefully fertilize the ovaries, then your seed process starts.
And for that, you go to school for 8 years.
The hardest part, you know, now you've got one plant that looks exciting, is to make 1,000 plants from one plant. And that's where the time and effort really goes into it.
Hey, you know what? We can just take a couple of these and walk around.
Developers now have used the same technology for raincoat. Water will not... Tiny little hairs on there.
I thought this was a cool picture than Brandon explained.
It is a really cool picture, but it's an unhealthy plant. So you can see all the yellow areas in between the veins. They're yellow because they're not getting enough fertilizer and nutrients, whereas the veins are nice and deep green because they have what little nutrients are actually left.
These are your new hybrids?
Yeah, these are new unnamed hybrids. This one's
Wow, so gorgeous.
Here, this is a little different.
Wow.
Way bigger than my hand.
This is a cross that we did here between two water lilies. So this is a full seed pod and it's about ready to rupture. You can see a few of the seeds, but we bag it so they're all collected in there, and then we'll take it up to those front tubs up front.
Very cool.
Release it and let it germinate up there.
I hope you enjoyed this day with Brandon, Florida Aquatic Nurseries, Greg, myself, out here learning from the best. This has been an incredible day, but it has literally rained on us the entire time. But it's been a lot of fun, and I'm sure you learned a ton from Brandon, just his knowledge, his passion of the industry. We're creating environments the way nature intended them, so I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you soon.